Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Melody Llama, and today we have a Dragon Ball video, and we're going to be discussing why Frieza is so damn great. Frieza is an icon to the anime world at this point. Like, he's probably the most popular villain in all of anime. He's basically anime's Joker, and deservedly so. He's really great. So let's talk about why. The first thing I want to talk about is his mention, right? In the Namek Saga, we first learn about him from words, right? We don't actually get to see Frieza yet. And Frieza's name alone is very imposing because we just got out of an arc where Vegeta in the Saiyan Saga completely pummeled all of the Earthlings, and they needed to pull every single stop in order to take care of this man. And then we find out that he is just one pathetic lackey under this great galactic empire that is Frieza. He just has this overwhelming stage presence. When we meet this guy on his pod when he's fucking over the Nameks, this guy, he's like small as shit, but he's still very creepy. It's his voice, it's his reptile-like design. I don't even know if I could call it a reptile. I don't know what it is. But to deny that this man has stage presence would be crazy. We learn later that Frieza isn't just this like Darth Vader, Dark Lord kind of deal where he's stoic and doesn't speak. No, he will yell if he has to. He gets annoyed. He gets irritated very easily. He's snarky. Like in the Nail fight, he's very cocky in that battle. And it's typically not what you would have the Galactic Emperor be, right? You'd think Palpatine was a lot more like confident and more, I don't want to say stoic, but more to himself, versus Frieza, who is very loud. And I think that helps him stand out, right? When I look at the Dragon Ball villains, I think of some of the villains that kind of feel similar. Like, I think Buhan kind of just rips Cell's personality. But Frieza does stand out on his own. There's really no one like Frieza except for Frost. But Frost is basically Frieza 2.0 and far, far, far shittier. He's pretty simple, but very effective, right? He just wants to take over planets, sell planets, conquer planets, destroy planets sometimes, and that's about it. He got no reason to do it, really. But yeah, that is about it. Now, I don't want to say there's outright no motivation to Frieza because there is this like subtle hint that maybe there's a reason he's like this. A lot of people believe that Frieza just grew up to be like an asshole or just grew up to be tyrannical, but there is a piece of evidence that's kind of interesting. So, Frieza states that King Cold was like the only one to beat him up or like damage him when he was in his final form. And I find it funny because later we find out that Frieza's never sparred before, that he's never trained, that he grew up, that he was born naturally powerful. So if he's getting beat up by his father, yet never trained or sparred, that kind of leaves only one context for King Cold beating on Frieza. It means Frieza wasn't fighting back, or at least he wasn't sparring with his father. There could be something there where Frieza was abused, and that's why he is the way that he is. It's possible. Do I think we'll ever address that? Probably not. It was probably just two conflicting details that they didn't notice. Not that I feel bad coming from the guy who decided to death beam a child in Dende. That was fucking wicked. But he does it. And Frieza's final form, by the way, I think it's the coolest form. I'm not really about to hear this. The first form is cool. The second form is very cool as well. It's this big hulking monster with horns, right? It's giving off the impression like what you think Frieza would have looked like in his first form before you met him. And then the third form is ridiculous, but it's kind of charming. Again, obviously it's inspired by aliens, but it's just a weird design in a weirdly cool way. And the final form obviously is the best one. I'm not going to hear this. Max power, I don't really care for it. He's just the final form, but roided out. And then Golden, it's neat. It's not final form Frieza, but it's neat. And then Black Frieza, it's neat. It's golden, but black. But let's talk about some narrative here. Frieza's battle with Goku. Goku's whole arc in this story is that he's trying to come to grips with what he is, being a Saiyan, his heritage and all that. And Frieza being his villain is perfect for that, right? Frieza absolutely slam dunked all of Planet Vegeta. And then he fought Goku, right? He's the catalyst for Goku avenging his people. And while Goku doesn't know his people or necessarily care all that much about avenging them, he avenges Vegeta's pride, which is enough for him as a warrior. And him being a warrior, him doing that for himself as a warrior, is already enough of him accepting his Saiyan heritage. One of the things that I love, I'm not going to talk about it too much because it's not really about Frieza, is Bardock's whole relationship with Frieza, where, you know, a lot of people want to see more of them, but I don't know, I think it works in a way that Frieza is so out of reach from Bardock until, you know, the moment he dies, right? Like, I don't think that Bardock and Frieza should have had this, like, more interactions or more history together. I think it's fine the way it is. Bardock gives that kind of Star Wars Rogue One vibe where the crew in Rogue One, they were very important, but boy, were they nowhere near Emperor Palpatine. But still, they felt important. And the fight with Goku is just iconic. Goku looks so great here, and I think to this day, Frieza is still Goku's best antagonist. Am I saying he's the best villain in Dragon Ball? I think he's top 3, maybe 2, maybe 1, you know? But I still think that despite me liking other villains more, I think Frieza is still the best villain for Goku. And, you know, even after the Namek Saga, he still remains very important, right? He gets Trunks over. He puts future Trunks over, which was huge for the arc because you thought that Frieza was going to be the villain again, but nope. Trunks is here, and Trunks absolutely turns this man into sushi. And it was cool to see. Frieza put the guy over. You got to respect Frieza's work ethic here. Now, we don't really talk about Resurrection of F, because that movie is terrible, and Frieza makes the same mistake he did on Namek, which implies that there's no growth, and he trains for 4 months, gets really strong, and it's really stupid, and I really hate it, and this movie needs to disappear from the annals of history. But he was cool in the Tournament of Power. I like seeing Frieza's relationship with Goku here when, you know, they first revive him. It's so cool to see this banter between them, because you never got that opportunity. And Frieza's my favorite member of the Universe 7 team, right? Out of all the characters that did stuff in that tournament, Frieza's stuff was the best to me because they didn't change anything about him, right? He didn't turn more good. No, he was still a piece of shit. He was just a piece of shit that was fighting for the good guys team. For every other universe, Universe 7 looked mad evil, especially because they had Frieza on their team. And Frieza gets the dog shit beat out of him in the Tournament of Power. Topo goes God of Destruction and squeezes this man's dome. Dispo drags this man across the mud, and Jiren just pieces this guy up. Frieza goes through the ringer and still is one of the reasons that Universe 7 win the entire tournament. You gotta respect it. Frieza is really cool. I look forward to seeing what he does as Black Frieza. I think it could be really interesting. Or it could take the Resurrection of F arc and we can all be disappointed. But definitely curious to see what he does next. Guys, I love Frieza. He's my top 3 Dragon Ball villains. Maybe 2, maybe 1. I'd have to think about it more, but he's just excellent. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and share the video for more. And let me know down below, who do you guys want me to talk about next? Thank you guys again, and I'm out.